Hi, everybody. This is Caitlin Albright, Education Coordinator, and I'm here today with Catherine Underhill, who is our Director of Development at the Everson Museum. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, how are you, Caitlin?
Good. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. Glad it's Friday.
Yes. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and your interest in the arts? How did you get started in the field of development in the art world?
Well, actually, my real background is in arts management, and that's a sort of long and twisty road. It really came from living in Peru for a year when I was 17. And I think I went there having studied French for 3 years, so I didn't speak a word of Spanish. And as a consequence, I was much more tuned in to sort of the colors of the dress, the architecture, the music, dance, and art in general, and the culture of the place. And so when I went to college, I studied art history, fell in love with art history, never considered myself an artist, but I love the idea that you can trace and understand a people, a culture by studying the art that they produce. So and then I eventually went on and got a master's in art history and then got a master's in public administration and have worked in lots of different organizations doing various things. And I'm happy to be at the Everson in development.
That's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly is development? What do you do?
It's a great question. Development is basically fundraising from individuals, foundation and government grant sources, and corporate sponsors. If you think of the revenue in terms of things that you earn, like admission, tickets, merchandise sales, that's earned income. I'm on the other side, which is contributed income. So I'm sort of focused on all three of those big areas, and we do some eventing, so that's in my arena as well.
That's great. And what kinds of skills or educational background do you need to have in order to be successful in this area?
You know, I think part of it, a big part, is passion for the mission of the organization,
Mhm.
whatever the organization is doing. If you believe in it, then you can get other people excited about it. And I think the key to development is to be thinking of it in terms of providing an opportunity for someone to invest in something that they believe in too. So it's really about that shared connection around recognizing the value of a really fine museum like the Everson, or a really fine symphony that connects people through music or dance or whatever the passion is. Education is a big one too, connecting kids with all kinds of opportunities like we do at the Everson. So it's relationship building, and it's really leveraging that shared passion.
That's great advice. And I know this, you also work on a lot of grants for us. What is that process like? And do you have to have a strong background, let's say in English or in writing skills, in order to be successful at that?
I think grant writing is really about being able to articulate and advocate for a particular program or organization effectively, concisely in writing. So
Mhm.
I actually teach development also at Lemoyne in their graduate master's in arts administration program. And one of the things that I really try to focus on is the writing skills. So I think anybody that has progressed through school and has honed their writing skills is going to be much more effective than someone who hasn't. So I do think writing is very, very important.
Great. I know we have a few people in our team council right now who are really interested in writing, and it's nice to hear what kinds of opportunities are available in terms of different careers in the arts where they could utilize those skills. So that's really cool to hear that you use a lot of those writing skills in your day to day. What do you think is one of the most challenging aspects of what you do?
Well, there's,
Hardly.
I guess I would say, like all of us at the museum and really in all nonprofits, I think one of the challenges is managing having a lot of balls in the air at the same time, right?
Yeah.
We're all spinning a lot of plates on sticks, and you try not to let any of them fall. And I think that's part of what makes our work really exciting, invigorating. But I also think that it means you have to really stay on top of all aspects to be successful.
Yes, I would agree with that. I can definitely relate in the
I'm
education
sure.
department. So let's talk a little bit more about the current situation. Since we're both colleagues at the museum, how is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting your work right now? What's changed?
Well, it's interesting actually, because in some ways it's moving forward the way you might expect. There are grant deadlines that are coming up. I'm working on grants. I'm working on grant final reports, which is the other end of that process. However, we know that foundations and government sources are going to have to shift their focus. Some of them may be experiencing a decline in their resources. So there's going to be a trickle down effect for us. I'm looking to see if I can broaden the sources that we're tapping for support, postpone our big fundraising event. As you know, our picnic is typically in June, and that's maybe going to happen in September. That remains to be seen. And corporate sponsorship is sort of at a standstill at this point because we don't have a lot of programming to support, although we could certainly pitch virtual programming, and that may be a direction that I move in.
Mm-hmm.
We're also reaching out to a lot of to many members and supporters in order to stay connected with them, in order to hear how they're doing, and to introduce them to the virtual programming that your team has been putting together and making available through the website and social media. So it is that relationship piece that is critical to my world,
Mm-hmm.
and really to the success of the Everson in general. I think it's important for all of us.
Yeah, I would agree. I think right now people are looking for that human to human connection even more so than ever. And anything we can do to make it accessible for them is going to be really important moving forward. Um,
Absolutely.
you have any words of wisdom or tips for people who are interested in pursuing a career in the arts, but maybe not so much as a maker or a working artist, maybe somebody who wants to move into a field of development and be supportive of the arts? What kinds of advice could you share with that person?
I think find your passion is the first thing. You know, if museum or gallery work or um, being connected with our industry in some way is exciting to you, I think that passion is the through line in all that we do. And I would say the basic skills of understanding what is being made. For example, I was out of the visual arts arena for a while, as you know, working in the music area. And I have had to happily get more involved and learn again sort of what's happening, particularly with contemporary art. So my studies of long ago were focused on, Renaissance and American art. So while I have some background, I'm way out of it in terms of what's been happening in the last few decades. So staying on top of the field, I think, is one thing. Internships are fantastic to put your toe in the water and get a sample, get a feeling for what the work is like.
Mm-hmm.
And really try to hone your writing. I think writing is really important.
That's great. And one question that you just made me think of, what makes an intern really stand out to you? What does a good intern do?
That's a great question because we've all had lots of interns, right? I think be a great listener because we're busy, and so we're providing a lot of information, downloading a lot of information quickly, and a lot of it is orally. So just be really tuned in and be like a sponge, absorb information. I would also say really pay attention to detail. Like that's sort of a qualifier for all of the work that we do. But if, in any area that you're touching the Everson, you want the work to be high quality. So attention to detail, I think, is really important. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I think some people are like, I'm supposed to know what I'm doing, but we don't assume that because, you know, we've been doing what we're doing for a long time. So be really upfront if you don't understand what's happening or what is expected.
It's great advice. And plus, we are also constantly figuring things out as we go, too. No one could have
Yes.
predicted this current situation we're finding ourselves in right now, but we're learning as we go. And I think that's a crucial skill for, employees in the arts and people wanting to move into the arts to have. You have to be flexible and fly by the seat of your pants sometimes.
That's absolutely true. And I think actually keeping good humor, like
Yeah.
patience and good humor is a big part of it too, because really, and no matter what you do professionally, stuff is going to come up that was unexpected. I was so impressed to see the GM folks, for example, line up and source these pieces for the ventilators. In a week, they were making parts. It was amazing.
Astonishing. You would think something like that would take a while to study and perfect, but they were able to jump right in and get started. And you're right, that's the same kind of attitude you'd want to have in any field, and especially in the arts when things are constantly moving and changing. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
thank
love working in the arts because it also draws a lot you creative people to the field.
you.
So there's even more of that sense of working with a creative and passion driven team. So I'm so fortunate to have spent my career working in the arts, and I'm delighted at that.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much, Catherine, for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate all of your words of wisdom and the experience you were able to share. And hopefully I'll be able to see you in person at the office again soon.
I'm sure we will see each other again soon. I'm not sure when exactly, but at some point. Yeah. Thank you so much, Caitlin. I appreciate it.
Thank you.